Hi there, you found Queen V Crafts, my channel all about my crafting life. My name is Eve, my pronouns are she, her, and today is Flosstube episode number 21. This is my February wrap-up. So today is the 2nd of March 2025, and I am really excited to share with y'all the things that I worked on in the month of February. So I think we can just jump right in because I do have quite a bit and I don't want this video to take 10,000 years. So first things first, I did have a finish for now, sorta. I am participating in a round robin with a bunch of individuals from the Millennial Fabrics Facebook group. And we are stitching on Rosetta by Ink Circles. We're passing projects around and each stitching a square. So I stitched and passed on Sarah from Millennial Fabrics, her project. And I'll pop up a picture over here of that finish. Hers was stitched 1/2 on 36 count platinum, and I used a Gloriana silk. I think it was Wood Pond. If it's not, I will put it up on the screen. I really loved using this floss. This was actually my first foray into stitching with silk, so I foresee lots more silk in my future, unfortunately for my wallet. Anyways, so that's Rosetta. I did have 4 starts. I know I'm trying to do a low starts here, but February kind of got away from me. So the first thing that I have to show you is Follow Your Heart. This pattern is by Silver Creek Samplers. And I decided I wanted to make mine a little bit more Valentine's related. So I did kind of change some colors. And I decided to stitch mine on 32 count with 2 strands. And this is Picture This plus Truffle. And here is where I got to on that. I hope you're able to see the wording on there. Truffle is like the weirdest fabric I think I've ever held up on my channel before because it looks brown here. I'm sure if you have a cut of truffle, you know, you can attest. This is a pink fabric. It kind of gives me a little bit more pinky than earthen from Picture This Plus. But it's the same kind of vibe where they both photograph very brown and it's a little irritating. But yeah, I got all of those stitches in. I'm excited to keep working on this one. We'll see if I bring it out again sometime this year, or if this is something that I work on like for Valentine's Day going forward. Yeah, that is Follow Your Heart. If you are interested in the color swaps that I did, I will post that on my Instagram story. I do have a conversions highlights on my profile, so you can check that out if you are interested. The next start that I had, some of y'all might think I'm crazy, but I restarted Femurs and Fungi by Fine Frog Stitching. I can actually pull out what I had done so far. If you bear with me for a second. Here's where I had originally gotten to on Femurs and Fungi. Put this. And I decided that this year I don't want to stitch with one strand on 18 count anymore. So this is 18 count Mystic from Picture This Plus. I have switched all of my fine frog stitching cells to 20 count Ada from Fiber on a Whim. So here's my restart. I don't know how well you can see that, but I did get all of one color and the frames done. Is it better this way? Still learning my lighting situation here in this new house, so it is a little frustrating, but this is 20 count Plum, and I really like this purple. I'm excited for another. I mean, I started all of Fine Frog stitching cells now, so I'm excited for next year's to see what that one's gonna look like, and I'll get another 20 count Ada from Fiber on a Whim, and then they'll all be on the same kind of fabric, even if it's not the same color, type of fabric. Okay. Then I started Plants and Petrichor, which is another Fine Frog stitching sal. Bear with the needle with thread on it, and you can't really see all of what I've done, but here is Plants and Petrichor. Also 20 count Ada, this one's Malachite from Fiber on a Whim. And I love it so much. I wonder, this might actually be my favorite fabric choice for these cells. I do really like the other two, but I think Malachite for Plants and Petrichor really was the right move. So there is that one. And last but not least is the most recent cell that Fine Frog Stitching is doing. This is the Court of Crows. And I've gotten this much done. This fabric is 20 count Raspberry from Fiber on a Whim. And I should have said before, but all of these I'm using one strand, stitching over 1 Ada square. And it looks so good. I'm very happy with how this is turning out so far. So yeah, those are all my Fine Frog cells, and I decided to try and stitch all of the frames within the time span that they gave for the frames for Court of Crows. I started a bit before that so I could get a little bit more in, but I'm trying to get them all done frames wise before the first release for Court of Crows, and then I'll do the first release for Femurs and Fungi and the first release for Plants and Petrichor, and so on and so forth as each release comes out. So hopefully all three will be done at the end of Court of Crows. That is the hope. We shall see. Mystery stitch-alongs tend to languish for me for whatever reason. I do love them. I get very far, and then for some reason like fall off. Okay, those are all my new starts, and my hair is doing something silly. What's happening? Okay, let's do whips. I have quite a few to show you. The first is Half Moon, which is a freebie from DMC. Get it onto my board. As I'm doing that, I'll pop up the picture of where I was the last time that I showed this. Dropping my clips on the ground. And where it is now. I've done quite a bit on this one. It's small. It should not be taking me this long to do. So this is 18 count Mystic from Picture This Plus. I think I got like a half yard of it at one point unintentionally, and so I've just been using it in a lot of projects. So I think I have finished it off now, but there is Half Moon, and it's looking very, very cool so far. All right. Next up is a Smooth Sea. This is from Cross Stitch for the Soul by Emma Congdon. And this one was one of my February WIPGO calls. I was able to do over 1,000 stitches on this one. My WIPGO goal is a little, it should probably be more straightforward, like a strict goal, but it's a little ambivalent. I say at least 5 days and at least 700 stitches. For these smaller pieces, I've found that I can do 1,000 stitches in like a week on them. So if I dedicate the first week to one project and the second week to the next, I can usually do 1,000 stitches on both. But here's where Smooth Sea was the last time that I showed it. And here is where it is now. So, as you can see, I added quite a bit. It now says a smooth. I did start on the S in here. Added those birds. And it looks so good. I'm very happy with how this is turning out. I'm stitching this 1/2 on 36 count Gray Magic from BeStitchMe. And it's on my WIPGO board one more time, so it will come out, hopefully, if I actually continue with WIPGO all year, you'll see this one more time this year. All right. Next that I have to show you is my other WIPGO call for February. This is Serena Sprout from Autumn Lane Stitchery. This one, I did some measuring and realized that where I had started this originally, I wasn't going to have the right margin. So I did pull all of that out and restart in the center at the bottom. So now I know that this is centered on this fabric, and I will have enough margin on either side. So here's where it was before, even though it doesn't really matter because that part doesn't exist anymore. Here is what Serena's sprout looks like now. This fabric is a 36 count peridot from Fiber and a Whim, and I'm using 2 strands of DMC over 2 to stitch her, so she's a little bit more bold color wise. And I think this was the move to restart her at the bottom. I really love how this is turning out. So I did do over 1,000 stitches on this one as well, and it's on my WIPGO for the 2nd time, so she will be out again one more time this year. Alright, so those were WIPGO. Now I have to show you some Fancy Lady February stitching. I have 2 projects that I consider fancy people. One of which is Candie from my cat friend Cat of Whittier.Stitches. She charted this one. The art is by Erin Culpepper. I did quite a bit on her. I unfortunately now have left myself the enormous skirt, but her entire top half is done. So here's where she was the last time that I showed her to y'all, and here she is now. This fabric is 32 count gingerbread from Picture This Plus, and I'm using 2 strands over 2 with the call for DMC for the blue dress and skin to conversion, and she looks so good so far. I am so happy. I probably should backstitch her face and stuff before I move to the skirt so that I'm not burnt out, but knowing me, I probably won't. So yeah, there is Candie. Okay. The other project that I have that I consider a fancy lady is Morning Glory. This is from Nora Corbett. I again kind of decided to do something crazy with this one and do 1/1 skin, because I found that I don't love stitching what most people would consider a fancy lady. It's just not my cup of tea. I wanted to try it and see, you know, basically 2024 was my year of start a bunch of things and figure out what kind of styles I liked. So I did start a whole bunch of things, and I'm working through those, and now I know kind of what I prefer in terms of styles for projects. Enough gab. Here's what Morning Glory looked like the last time that I showed her, and where I got to when I pulled her out. I'm pretty sure I only added skin, maybe a tiny bit in her dress, but most of my stitching was focused on all of that 1/1 in her skin. This fabric is 28 count Haze from Atomic Ranch, and I'm using the Call for DMC 202, and yeah, I'm just glad that I chose one of the smaller pieces from Nora Corbett as my first, because I don't love abandoning things. So I know that if I had started, for example, a Mirabilia, I probably would have continued to work on it until it was done, and it would have taken me years. So I did a small one, and I probably won't be starting or stitching any others in the future. So those are my fancy ladies. Next, I have to show you the piece that I pulled out during the Super Bowl. So I'm not usually a football fan. Let's be honest. I care a little bit more about college football because my sister is at the University of Alabama, and that's always fun to watch them play. But I did watch the Super Bowl. I was rooting for the Eagles, so yay, I guess. Congrats to them. I was stitching on No Time Like the Present from Modern Folk Embroidery while I watched the game, because I was stitching on something that was in one of the team's colors. So I have my No Time Like the Present in these like dark green teal colors, and that's very similar to the Eagles colors. So I'm actually gonna hold it. It's kind of getting difficult to do it before and after on this one. So above is where it was before, and where it is now. So I added a lot in on this side. I did a lot of the darker color. I was working in the bands of like the monthly releases that Jacob had set out, but now that the year is over, I'm just kind of doing what I want on it and what I feel, and we'll see how it comes together. So the fabric is 18 count, very light pewter. It's a Witchelt Ada, which I actually don't mind. I really like the Witchelt Adas. With 2 DMC that I can't remember off the top of my head. I never can. 3847 and 3849. And we shall see where this one gets this year. I think it looks really awesome so far. I am excited to continue working on it. Yeah, that's No Time Like the Present. Alrighty. Next, I have to show you some Valentine's Day stitching. I have, I think, four projects that, or I had 3 whips that were love Valentine's related, and I added a 4th with Follow Your Heart. So the first one that I'm going to show you is a freebie from Modern Folk Embroidery. This is actually a Mother's Day themed pattern originally, but I have omitted the I love you mom at the bottom, and I am stitching just the heart and the birds, so it will be definitely more Valentine's themed. Here is where it was the last time that I showed it, and we'll try and hold it in such a way that the wrinkles are not as prominent. Here is where I got to. This fabric is 36 count Brenda's Brew from our Nora Productions, and I am using Classic Colorworks. Yeah, Classic Colorworks Wild Berries as the floss with 1 strand over 2. And yeah, it's really fun. It's really small. There's no reason that it should be taking me this long. But there is, I think it's called Mother's Day, but it's Mother's Day in parentheses Valentine for my tracking purposes. Alright, the last piece that I have to show you is another Modern Folk Embroidery. This is Quaker of Hearts. I am very excited because this piece is actually my March WIPGO calls, plural. It called both of the numbers that Quaker of Hearts is, so I will be working on this doubly in March. But here's where it was the last time that I showed it and where it is now. This is 36 count Winter Moon, I think. Where is my little card? Yes, 36 count Winter Moon, 1/2 with Classic Colorworks Ribbon Red. I added quite a bit, I will say, and this will have even more added to it next time that I show. I am really excited to get more work in on this one. So there is Quaker of Hearts. And that is all of my stitching. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about plans and things that I have purchased. So acquisitions, plans. I've kind of talked about that already. WIPGO called 9 and 24, which were both Quaker of Hearts. I think my goal is going to be 1,000 stitches. I would like to get more than 1,000 stitches if I can, but we'll see. Then I also participate in Pick a Whip, which is hosted by Marjorie Made Stitches. The 2 prompts for March are something that is picked by a friend and something that is on dark fabric or uses dark floss, whatever you consider to be dark. So for the picked by a friend, I put a poll up on Instagram and asked, and 2 people actually, out of all of the different responses, I got 2 responses for my Stardew Valley map, full coverage. So that is the one that I'm going to pull out for a little bit in March and get some stitches in on. And then I have to decide dark fabric or floss. There's a good chance that I might do Moon Moth from DMC. It's a freebie. I'm still working to finish my second iteration of that pattern, and that's on black. So I would like to try and get some more stitches into that one. I actually didn't go through and write down what the I Spy prompts are for March. But that's hosted by Stitching by the Shore, who's Laura. She does a prompt-based game where she gives 10 prompts of things you need to find in your projects, and you stitch on them and you set a goal for yourself. So I will be doing that. I also have the Crafts and Books acrostic, which is Shamrock, for March. So I will be, filling that one in where I can. I did write down all of the sals that I have going, like all of the mystery sals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That 2, 3, 4, 5 that are started, 2 that I have as plans. One of which being things that I have like purchases for. So let's kind of transition into my purchases. Yeah, let's do that. All right. So, since we were talking about things that I purchased that are a sal, I'm going to pause for a second and take all these crinkly things out of this bag. Okay, so I purchased the Empyrean sal from Forbidden Fiber Co. I've really enjoyed reading Fourth Wing and that series. So when they said that they were going to do a sal based off of that book series, I was like, sold. I don't usually, jump into things that are pop culture like that, but I do love these books a lot. So I got the needle minder, which says not all strength is physical. And then I purchased the 40 count package. So I got 40 count fabric. This is a 1/4 yard of Feathertail. It's a really interesting color, and it's not going to show up right on camera, I don't think. I'll see what it looks like when I'm editing, but it's kind of a soft green yellow. It's giving kind of like a lighter version of Willow from Picture This Plus. Let's see if I take it out. So I have this. I think I'm gonna have plenty extra to do the sal and something else on this fabric. And then it also comes with the Forbidden Fiber Co. Threads to do the stitch along. So I'm going to quickly open these because I didn't do that yet. And colors are Shadow, Black Magic, Midas Touch, Indigo, and Collegiate. And they're all kind of in that same color family, except for the gold. So I'm excited to stitch this Sal. We've already got the first part, so this might be a start sooner than later. All right. Next, a little bit of acquisitions, which is kind of a plan, is the Artsy Housewife Patreon. I am a member, and the tier 2 pattern, no, tier 3 pattern for February is this cute little guy. His name is Vern, and I love him, and I think that Vern would look great on the other part of this 40 count fabric, which is Sparrow from Millennial Fabrics. I already have Cabin in the Woods going on the other side, so I think I want to do Vern on the other part. So that's a planned start. We'll see when I decide I want to start him. But he's in the same bag as Cabin in the Woods since they're on the same fabric. All right, then some other fun stuff. I spent one of the days in the middle of February attempting to dye some fabric. I'm pretty happy with what I came up with. I dyed 18 count. I just had cut some, like this size piece. I cut a bunch off of like a DMC Charles Craft roll, and I dyed some fabric. So here is black, pearl gray, royal blue, and aqua. If I put up the white, will it help? Maybe a little bit. Obviously color is relative because, yeah, lighting changes colors. But here is another, which kind of almost looks the same as the other on camera, but this one is more green. This one is sage, pearl gray, and taupe all together. Let's see if I put them next to each other, if you can see that one's blue and one's green. Sorta, not really. So those were two things that I tried dyeing. I think I'm going to stitch Who Let the Frogs Out on the green one, and I need to decide which one of these I want to do on the blue. So if you have any thoughts, if you're familiar with these heartstring samplery charts, this is Whip It Good, Hoop There It Is, and Baby Got Backstitch. Let me know what you think would look most fun on the blue. And I will most likely stitch those with 3865. So just a off-white. The other dyeing experiment I actually did for this pattern. This is Crafty Cats from Counting Puddles. This is a chart that I got last Nashville, so it's one that I'm planning to start for the Lindy Stitches Nash Stash Startathon online retreat that they're hosting the end of March. So I dyed a piece of fabric for this, and I think it turned out great. I love it. It's going to look so fun. I'm so excited. I did purple and aquamarine for this one, and I don't remember what the exact dyeing process was, but those were the two colors that I used. And I'm very, very, very happy with how this one turned out. So that is my plan for my hand-dyed fabrics. I did get a bunch more colors of Rit dye recently at Joann's, which is a very sad circumstance. I can't believe that Joann's will be going out of business before the end of this year. So if you have a Joann location near you, you know, things are on sale. Go and pick up the things that you usually buy there and say goodbye to the lovely individuals who have worked there, especially if Joann's is like your local craft store that you go to. All right. I have some 40 count that I purchased from Stephanie of Cross Stitch the Globe. She had a Destash going, and I'm trying to build my 40 count. So I thought, okay, this is perfect. You don't really want to stitch on 40 count anymore, and I'm trying to stitch more on 40 count. So she was awesome. I saw, where is it? Tropical Stitches Eleonora, which is this fabric. It's a full fat quarter, and I've somehow pinned this together, but it's a really pretty taupe, neutral, oatmeal-ish color. And I'm excited because I've never stitched on a Tropical Stitches fabric before. It feels different. Like, it feels a little bit more, a little bit more synthetic, I guess. Like, very soft and, like, beautiful, but a little bit more synthetic feeling. And I'm interested to see how my threads pull through this. So that's what I originally had purchased and said, you know, if you have any other 40 count that you're willing to part with, I would be more than happy to take it off your hands. So then she was like, okay, I'll just bundle some of my offcuts and you can purchase that if you'd like. 40 count maple sugar from Lakeside Linens. This is my very first piece of Lakeside Linens too, so that's super exciting. And I was also sent this piece of Gold Rush from BeStitchMe. It's bigger. I just have my pin with the tag in it all together, so I need to fix that. But I got Gold Rush, and I also got Into the Veil and I have an idea of what I'm doing with this. The sprouting lupine stitch along that's in Just Cross Stitch magazine is on that fabric, so there's a good chance that I start it on that fabric. And then I was taking her a little bit longer to get things shipped out, and like, I could care less, but it is super sweet that she included some hand-dyed cottons as well. These are both from Fiberlicious Fibers. This one's called Silver Lining and this one's called Magic Potion. So I am really excited to add these to my collection. So thank you so much, Stephanie, for all of these goodies. I am very excited to stitch on them. All right. Then I have to show you, I went to my local needlework store, which is 3 Stitches. I purchase, usually I go in once a month. I participate in a second Saturday stitching group over there. And every time I go in, I try and buy some more threads that I don't have that are fancy floss that I can add to my collection. So I bought 5 Classic Colorworks, Bamboo, Barn Door, Bejeweled, Bella Rosa, and Bing Cherry. Ta-da! And then from Gentle Art, Bayberry, Butternut Squash, Cast Iron Skillet, Chalk, and Chamomile. And my dog is in here. She's trying to like maneuver around the mess that I'm making at my feet. So that is what I grabbed at 3 Stitches. Now I have to show you my fabric of the months. This one is from Millennial Fabrics. I switched my fabric club to 40 count from them. I am also, so I'm getting a fat eighth of 40 count. This is Ocean Mist. I need to iron this. That's really pretty. It's like a very blue with some green undertones color. So there is that one. And then I also have my BeStitchMe. This is also 40 count. This one's called Oat. That is my lamp. I did move to the Neutrals Club, and actually I had to pause while my finances kind of reorient themselves. So I will probably start my clubs back up in June. So is that all the things that I have to show you? No, I bought 8 charts from Colorfully Sarah. I will cycle them through pictures on the screen here. I saw that she was having a sale, so I did purchase several. And I am really excited because my friend Samantha, who is the Kansas City Stitcher, is actually going to do a birthday sale with patterns from this designer. And that one starts mid-March. I have it on my calendar, but my calendar's on my phone and I'm filming on my phone. So I will put down here the date that we'll be starting stitching on Colorfully Sarah patterns. I am torn about which one I want to do. I'm leaning towards doing the froggy one first, maybe, or the pasta. We'll see. They're all so cute. I want to stitch them all, and we'll see how long it takes me to finish one of them. Alrighty, is that all I have to talk about today? I think so. Looks like it. I don't usually pull from here anymore, but let's do one of these talking point questions that you guys can chat with me in the comments with. What is this? I don't like any of these. Move that one. Pulled that one out before, and it's like, let's see what people have to say for if you could learn any new skill that would impact you at work, what would it be and why? Okay, that is everything that I have to show you today. I am very excited for March and what I will get up to. There was a lot more in this video. I am trying to be good and start less things, so hopefully my March wrap up will be a little bit of a shorter video, and yeah, it'll be a good time. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm really excited to come back at the end of March and share what I have been stitching on with y'all. So yeah, until then, happy stitching. Just as surprised as you.